do you see anything on your screen that tells you that it's live?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you do. Okay,
Yes.
that's good. And then the main thing I have to do is pause that so that I don't get that feedback. And I think we're good.
Yay.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Tell me if you see anything that I should know about, but let me get my clapboard. Hold on. All right. Places, everybody. And action. Welcome to Show and Tell. I am live. This is a first for me. I tried it once before, and Kati from Germany, not to be confused with Kati from Brazil. Kati, wave. Kati, Germany. She was nice enough to be my guinea pig, and it didn't work at all. So this time it looks like I have it happening. So I'm going to be quiet, and I'm going to let you in turn introduce yourself. So I'll call your name and then just say hi and where you're from, and then we'll come back around. So Michele, go ahead. You're at the top of my screen.
Hi everyone. I'm Michele Mark. I live near Southend-on-Sea. You can find me on Etsy under Michele Mark Knitwear. I'm also on Ravelry, VintageMichele, and on Instagram at marckknitwear. And that's it. I've also got a blog spot, but I won't mention that because I haven't managed to find time to keep on track with it. I started it a few years ago, and I just, when you're knitting, you don't have time to blog and things like that. It started out a good idea, but I don't know how people manage to keep blogging, and even on Instagram, I find it time consuming. Does anyone else find that?
Well, let me just run through everybody, and then we can have a big chit chat. So Jessika, hi.
Hi, my name is Jessika, and I'm currently living here in Sweden, in Stockholm. But I'm originally from the island of Gotland, which is also a part of Sweden. Well, it's pitch black outside because we're quite far up north here. And I'm trying my best to keep my stitches on the needle at the moment because they want to flop off. But yes, this is me in a nutshell. You can find me on Instagram. My name there is jessikaahlstrom. And I'm also on Ravelry. And there it is kaitlabb, which is left-handed in Gutnick, the old language on Gotland. And I don't have a blog about knitting. Sorry.
That's quite all right. Okay, Katy from Germany, please.
Okay, I'm Katy, and I come from Germany. I live in Wuppertal, and on Instagram, I'm 20-40 style.
And it's really a remarkable Instagram page, like a fashion magazine. No food, no travel pictures. It's all fashion all the time. So, okay, welcome. This is your first time, so special welcome. Siobhan.
Hello.
Hi.
First of all, I would just love to say I am in awe of some of the ladies that are on this screen, because if it wasn't for some of the ladies that I see here, I would not be where I am now. So just get that out of the way. Thank you all so much. So I'm Siobhan. I'm fairly new to the whole vintage knitting scene, only a few years for me, but I'm on Instagram as lilybellknits. And my little journey started from just going to an event with my partner and being blown away by the sheer exuberance and vitality of ladies such as yourselves that are on the screen, and it allowed me to really find the real me. So thank you very much, ladies.
Sophie.
Hi, I'm Sophie. I live in Hartley, Kent in England, but I'm originally from Germany. You can find me on Instagram under sophievdg, and on Ravelry under vintagephie, PHIE, like Sophie.
I'll put all the spellings in the show notes so people will be able to find you readily. Erika.
Hi, everybody. Oh, it feels like I'm meeting my idols, because I've been following a lot of you now on Instagram, and suddenly I'm a part of talking to you. I'm also new at knitting, just a couple of years in, but I've always loved the vintage style. I'm from Sweden as Jessika, but a bit further south, in a small town called Västervik.
Ooh,
Yes,
nice town.
it is. It
Yeah.
really is. Longing for summer.
Yes, you haven't met Erika yet because she's slated to appear later on this month. But in that interview, I've put a picture of this wonderful hotel that's owned by Bjorn Ullius. I know I didn't say that right, but of ABBA. And it's on the water, and it just looks like such a beautiful part of the world. Wow.
Ulvaeus, isn't it?
Ulvaeus, yes.
Ulvaeus, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't speak Swedish, so thank you for correcting me.
I had to think about it, honestly.
Was it? Yes.
Thank you. And last but not least, Kati, I haven't seen you in a while. Everybody else I've seen more recently, but it's nice to see you again.
Hello, nice to see you again too. So my name is Katy and I'm 36 years old. I live in Brazil, specifically in São Paulo, and I am new to knitting as well. Actually, I am a crocheter for a couple of decades, and then I started to look for crochet vintage patterns, and then I felt in love with many knitting patterns that I seen, and then I started to knit around vintage patterns around 1 year and a half, for a year and a half, and now I'm trying to learn more and more making these patterns. And I'm so happy to be here now as well, because I see a lot of girls that I follow and I admire. I'm here only with the stars.
It's really,
I can only agree.
I mean, it's so much fun. I'm so glad that I'm able to bring you all together. And in the future, I hope there will be more. So, you know, I keep trying to find people who I think are talented knitters, and I've hit a home run with every single guest I've had. I have not had one guest who I thought was rude or unappealing or not talented. And for me, it's kind of like a crapshoot. You know, I sniff around, I see like, are they doing vintage? And it's just the luck of the draw that you've all been so nice and so helpful and so accommodating. And I have to say, it's because of a couple of you that I'm branching out a little. I haven't crocheted since I was a teenager. It really was never my thing, but there was one object that I wanted to make, and I learned how to crochet specifically to do that. But that's 50 years ago. 50, you heard it right. So it comes back. And I went on YouTube and I cheated a little, like how do you do a single crochet? I just want to refresh my memory, and I'm moving and grooving. So this is because of Sophie. Sophie was wearing such a cute little perch hat when she came on my show and was kind enough to give me the pattern. So I have it. Let me show you. It's over here. Yeah. I'm this far. And here's my crochet hook.
Yay!
So that's because of Sophie. Now, because of Kati Kati has a lot of crochet patterns in her collection, and I saw one, I think it was through you that I saw this. It's a very lovely blouse that has a rectangular yoke. It really could be knitted, the whole bottom part, but the pattern is a crochet pattern. The yoke is exquisite. I think you would all love it. It's very vintage. It has sort of petals, like leaves. And then there's like open work in between those leaves. So it's mostly these solid leaves on a open background. You know the one I'm talking about, Kati? It has short sleeves, and in the picture it looks like it's white.
I'm trying to remember. I don't remember exactly now. The one I have in mind is green.
Oh, it's possible. And maybe if it's a light green, it's showing up as white in a black and white photo. It's possible. But I'm going to crochet that too, because I really love how it looks. I'll see, once I get started, I might want to knit the bottom. But anyway, so thanks to a couple of you, I'm being converted a little bit to a crocheter, but I'll still be mostly knitting.
I mean, most of matching accessories or accessories by far are usually crocheted. So, I mean, it's good to be able to do both. There are quite few of knitted accessories as well, but not when it comes to hats.
That's one of my frustrations, Jessica, because I see some of the things that you make, like the hair accessories, and I am absolutely sort of, well, as always, in awe, because I cannot crochet. I can literally do.
I'm in awe with Katy, because Katy do
amazing.
Bow to the goddess of matching knitted sets and outfits. Yes,
absolutely.
Katy, do you have both knit hats and crochet hats in your collection?
Yeah, both. Yeah.
And the one you're wearing now, it's knit?
It's knitted. Oh. Don't know if one can see.
Yes, we can see the little pom-pom. It's sort of like a little French sailor cap.
Yeah.
Really cute.
Very much so.
Has anybody, Michele knits a lot of headwear, turbans. They're knit though, right? They're not crochet, Michele.
No, I can't crochet actually. Oh. I have tried, but I'm left-handed, so I don't know. It's a bit of a...
So am I.
Me too.
I knit with my crochet with my left hand, and I was actually taught by a 93-year-old neighbor lady who said, "Oh, can't you crochet? Here, let me help you, and I teach you." And I'm like, "But I'm left-handed." "No, you just sit right there beside me," and I just mirrored it in my head. So I make everything mirrored, but the end result still looks like, it should do, except all stitches are mirrored. I can't for my life know how to crochet left-handed, as probably many others are taught. I just watched her and mirrored.
Yeah, I mean, I can do simple, just a little chain stitch, like, if you've got a fastening on a jumper, you just need to I can do that, but I'm not comfortable. Like it's I have to use both fingers to pull the thread through. I can't just,
Don't you find as well, though, it's the method that you knit, because I knit the anchored method. So having this needle that's sort of, I have no control. That's how I feel, as if I've got no control over it.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to learn how to crochet. I mean, I had an aunt. She's not alive anymore, but she was a brilliant crochet. Like my mum was always talking about her, but as she got older, though, in old age, she got really bad arthritis and she couldn't crochet anymore. That's what I worry about, actually. But you get to a certain age and, God forbid I get anything wrong with my hands and I can't knit anymore. Yeah. So that is a real, I feel like I've got to knit as much as I can now. Just
Very control.
Get it all in.
Yeah,
do like my granny. She's 90 years old and she started taking up knitting again.
Really?
So she
That's
took a
really
course
good.
and then she restarted a couple of years ago.
So you're
do
going to
that.
see when
Yeah.
that episode airs, you're going to see the beautiful red sweater that Erika's grandmother knit well into her 80s, almost 90 years old when she knit it. Fantastic. Yeah, I think the whole thing is arthritis. So if you get it, I imagine that a lot of it is hereditary. So
Yeah.
I mean,
I know there are
sometimes
people who do a lot of exercises before they start to knit. Do any of you do that? I just pick up my
I don't, and I should though.
I'm always knitting, so
Sometimes
I do
Wait,
stretches.
wait. Let's go one at a time.
Yeah.
Michele, exercise your
sometimes-
hands before you knit.
I don't, but sometimes, like just recently, I've been knitting and I've had like a little kind of twinge in one of my fingers. And I thought, oh.
Okay, so
It's
you might
only
want to
recently.
exercise.
I know.
Jessika,
Yeah, I actually have had issues with my right pinky and my right index and left pinky. I had it most of last year, so now I do stretches.
you do.
Yeah,
Okay.
and interestingly enough, I have rheumatism in my family on my mother's side, including SLE, that autoimmune rheumatism disorder. And I actually once had major cramps in my head. I thought that oh God, what is this? So I went to see
I
a
get
doctor.
cramps. I get cramps. Not
And
necessarily when I'm
no,
knitting.
it was aching pains. And I thought during the time I was in school, in college, university really. And so I thought I must have been writing too much. And that doctor who looked at me, he said, well, you know what? Because I told him about we have rheumatism in my family. No. And as a matter of fact, in the emergency, they actually had a specialist. He was a rheumatist doctor, whatever it's called. And he looked at my hands and looked at my knees and everything, all the joints, and he said, you will never get anything like that. So for me, it's most definitely muscular, tense muscles.
When I get cramps, this is my cure for cramps.
Yeah.
They seem to happen more in the winter. Sometimes my hand will freeze up, and it has nothing to do with knitting. But potassium is supposedly the thing, and bananas are high in potassium. So if you ever cramp up, or like cramps in your legs, this is supposed to be the cure.
Very true.
Okay,
if you eat
Katy,
potassium,
your hands
you need to do D vitamin as well. If you eat potassium, you have to eat D vitamins too, vitamins.
Oh, D vitamins.
Yeah, okay. Because they actually, the potassium do stuff with your skeleton. So if you don't eat D vitamins, it will actually leach out some of the skeletons.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I get that with my calcium. So, okay.
Yeah, it's similar to calcium. So D vitamins is good.
So Katy, tell us, do you exercise? You do stretches before you knit?
No. Nothing special, just start with knitting. And I'm just working on a skirt at the moment.
Working on
a skirt.
A skirt.
Oh.
Yeah.
Does it match the waistcoat that's behind you?
This one, yeah. I have so much yarn, and I still have so much left over that I have now a jacket, a waist, a cap.
Wow.
Adorable. How about you, Siobhan? Do you exercise your fingers before
No, I don't, but I do have arthritis. I had a full hip replacement 5 years ago, and my poor hands are riddled with arthritis. So I don't exercise before I knit, but I do have to gently clench and but I just think, you know what, the knitting's exercise in itself. I'll be fine.
Yeah.
Sophie's very young, so it's probably the furthest thing from her mom.
Way in the
Not
future.
young. Not that young. I exercise because of my elbow now.
Oh, but your fingers?
Well, I do stretches, which actually affect the arm. So stretching like that. And I do the starfish exercise. So I do kind of warm up now. I figured it'll help the current issue and any future issues.
So it takes an injury to make us do this. How about you, Erika?
Well, no, nothing because of the knitting. But I do work out, so I think that kind of helps.
Yeah, but working out is not. It's not this.
No, it's not stretching my fingers. No, but maybe I'm not up to the time that I'm knitting. I still have small children, so I don't have that many hours. Maybe I'll have to add to some stretching when I start knitting. Even
right,
more.
when you start knitting 5-6 hours a day, you might.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't. So who knows? Okay, last but not least, Katy, exercise fingers or no?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
And I do. Yes, I try to stop every hour to stretch. Because of course I feel some pain, and also because it's a family story now. My father, he and my mother, they don't like so much that I crochet or I knit or something. And my father always says to me, look at your aunts, they taught you to crochet and now they have arthritis, arthritis, this and that. Look how you will stay when you have their age. So he more or less tries to make me stop saying these things. And then I stretch to prove to him that I will arrive to 8 years old without arthritis, and something, you know. So I prefer to stretch.
Oh my goodness, I hope that I never get it because I don't know what I would do.
I think though it is a fear that I do sometimes think, goodness, what would I do if I couldn't knit? If something happened and I couldn't knit, what actually would I do with my time? I mean, I listen to books while I'm knitting, I watch TV, I listen to the radio, etc., etc. But what would I do with my hands? What would I actually do? That sounds ridiculous.
No,
people who don't craft, I mean, I would find something, but it's a passion.
I know. Once this bug bites, it's like you're addicted. I mean, I feel addicted. If a day goes by that I haven't knit, I feel like I've missed something. I don't feel complete.
My partner will say to me, why are you awake at 5 o'clock in the morning? Well, might be something to do with this. I'm just like, what? But it is, I wake up and the moment I am awake, I'm thinking about knitting. I'm not thinking about what we're having for dinner. I'm not thinking about what I need to do, shopping. It's knitting. And that is the truth.
I think it's a little more exaggerated during lockdown. It's like we're trapped in our homes and climbing the walls. So if you don't do this, what are you going to do? Eat bonbons? Or
I mean, that is something that I have to say that I work in retail, and the team that I work with, we've been in contact with all throughout lockdown, and every single week we're phoning our guys, and it's amazing, or concerning to me really, how many people don't have anything that they do.
No hobbies at all. Yes.
Yeah, they've got nothing, and I cannot imagine how I would have survived lockdown without having this engrossing hobby, if you want to call it that. But for me it is a passion, and for all of us it's the passion. But I feel quite sorry if that's the wrong word, but I do think, crikey, there are so many, it doesn't have to be knitting, you know, there's so many other crafts But I just think, why would you not have something in your life? And maybe that's just because I'm blinkered in regards to being so passionate about what I do. But I just think it exercises your mind, it keeps you occupied, time disappears. I have not once through lockdown looked at the clock and thought, God, is that all it is? I've looked at the clock and thought, oh my God, I need to stop knitting, I need to get away and do something else.
I look at the clock at midnight and say, oh, really? Do I have
really,
to
I should
turn
go
off
to
the
bed.
light?
Yeah.
It does. I just think there are so many benefits to crafting in general, that it does sadden me that people don't take up something that will help them.
I remember having a conversation with an acquaintance who work in computers, mainly programming, and well, he's a geek. He likes nerdy stuff and lots of games, played tabletop games all the time, stuff like that. But no other real creative hobby like that, creating stuff. Probably due to the fact that he actually creates while working, programming all the computers and stuff. But we were talking and discussing about what's the word in English? Civil pay. When you're on it, when you don't work but you still get paid by the state.
Okay, so like state benefit.
Yeah, well, Finland has had tried out over a few years now, or we've been discussing about trying out for people who are employed to actually get paid by the state, so they can pay rent and food and stuff like that. Minimal income, something like that. Anyway, and he was absolutely distraught about the fact that not having any work. Whatever would people do? And I was like, well, hobbies. Don't you have hobbies? Create stuff. I mean,
they would do what they're doing now during this pandemic.
Yes,
this is like a dry run for that. If you want to know what your life is like without work, there are millions and millions of people around the world who are in that unfortunate situation. Luckily, in the United States, and strangely, I'm the only American in this group today, but in the United States, we've gotten these checks several times now. It's like for stimulus, so that people will have money to go out and spend to keep the economy going.
Yeah.
And there's a worry that this will disrupt the economy. There's a worry that people will, if they're given the opportunity to work, won't go back to work because they'll be relying on these stimulus payments. I don't know that they're going to be any more. We've had 3 of them, which is, it's amazing. I mean, it's really great. Fortunately for us, we weren't destitute, we weren't losing our home, but there are a lot of people who couldn't pay their rent without this. So, it's such a different system we have here than in a lot of other countries where a lot of things are socialized and so forth. So we'll see. I mean, I don't know how much longer. When I walk up and down the streets in my neighborhood, there's so many stores that are closed. And interestingly, there are some slowly new businesses coming in. There's a new yarn shop.
Ooh,
don't tell anyone because I want to be the first one to review.
First dibs, as I would say over here. I want first dibs.
It's a new little yarn shop. I think that this place might have been vacant for a long time, and possibly, well, I guess she'll tell me when I interview her, but I'm just imagining that right now a lot of landlords are willing to lower their rents to get shop owners to come back in and operate businesses. So I think the timing may have worked out really well for this person. I haven't been there yet because I don't go out very much. Things are pretty bad in New York. We have a variant. I think they're calling this new variant New York variant. Yeah. So I don't have my mask handy, but we have these super deluxe masks with tube and a HEPA filter, battery operated HEPA filter attached to it. So it's cumbersome to get dressed to go out into the netherworld. So it's easier for me to just stay home. So I haven't seen the shop yet, but I will. All right, what else do we want to share? Anybody want to show us what they're knitting or crocheting, maybe?
Well,
I can.
The Tyrolean. I'm doing the sleeve because I thought I'll do the sleeve that's perfectly plain so I can actually knit and talk at the same time. But
I'm doing two knit two, purl two ribbing. It's a open rib yoked sweater, so I'm just beginning on it. But I thought, as you did, something simple. Because I am either knitting something that I have to increase, or I'm going to cast on for a second noonday lace jumper, and that is knit top down with a lot of yarn overs and knit two togethers and decreasing at the edge almost every row. It's like, no, I can't do that and talk at the same time.
Pay attention. Right. I think that must be why people have multiple projects, so that when they're doing something else at the same time, like watching a movie, maybe they can do their straight stockinette, but if they have some quiet time, I mean, that's an interesting topic too. I mean, I'm trying to finish up a lot of unfinished things so that I can concentrate on one thing at a time and do it through to completion. But I mean, does anybody have like a specific regimen? I have a feeling, Siobhan, that you're one at a time, right?
Yeah, but only because I get so excited about what I'm knitting at the time that if I cast something else on, I'll be like, oh, okay, right, forget that. And then I would never finish that one. So I do have to be very, very strict with myself.
But you have commitments. You're in
Yes, I have commitments, but I do have a lot of yarn that, you know, I could at this moment in time start 6 different items for 6 different customers, but 6 different customers wouldn't get an item because then I'd move on to the 7th one. So, I know myself well enough, and I know how easily caught up in the thing that I'm doing at that moment in time. So even if something is difficult and I think I would love to do something really simple, and I can hear the other knitting patterns are filtering into my ear, like, look at me, I could be really simple, or look at the colour that you could be knitting with,
or look at the stitch pattern.
Exactly. So I am very strict with myself, and I only ever do one thing at a time.
It would be really interesting to know, like, I would love to take a poll. It would be very interesting, I think, to know if the people who knit one thing at a time through to completion, if they have higher productivity than the people who flip from one project to another. I'll do a little here, a little here, a little here. I wonder if there's like... It
would probably even itself out, I suppose. You know,
but maybe not. But maybe not. Kati, are you one at a time, monogamous?
Which?
You.
Okay, I'm one at a time. I just do one project, and then when it's finished, start the next one. I'm much too curious to see how it will look to start something else. If I've got something, I just want to have it finished. And most often I hope that the yarn will be enough.
But you like that in the last.
I think I would be that way too, except once in a while I run into a snag. The pattern isn't well written, there's a mistake, and I get fed up and I'm like, I just want to put you in time out and I will come back to you. And then I feel like I lose momentum because when I come back to it 3 or 4 or 6 months later, I'm not in the groove. I don't have that like flow of like, I know these 12 stitches repeat. I have to get like
I
reacclimated.
think as well, you
that
adapt patterns as well, don't you? You ladies must do the same, where you think, oh, this isn't quite going to work, or I'm going to have to do it slightly differently so that for my tension it will work. And if I don't do it, so if it's a sleeve, I don't always knit the two sleeves in one. So that's another reason that I will not go on to another project, because I will forget. No matter, sometimes I write notes, I have my notebook, and then I look back at it and I think, what on earth was I writing at that moment in time? It made perfect sense then, but today,
yeah, because it is completely gone from your mind, and it's like,
who wrote this?
What did I think about when I wrote it?
Yeah.
So yeah, I have a bit similar with both Siobhan and Billy. It's like, and Kati, yes, I usually start one project because I want to make it one at a time, and if I make too many mistakes due to exhaustion, or there's a error and errata in the pattern, or if you run out of yarn, whatever, some issue, is like, well, I place you in naughty pile and I start something else. And now when I'm knitting for others, it's like, well, I would like to finish that first and then work on my own in between, simply because that I get it out of my hair and I get a finished object, garment, and I can dream for things for myself. That's also trouble, because there are too many beautiful patterns that I would really want to knit, and when you collect them in a pile, well, on the computer, and then it's like, okay, I decided to make this one or that one and that one, and then there are suddenly a myriad of new pretty patterns, and then it's like, okay, which one should I do now? Yeah.
How about
so
you,
what
Sophie?
I usually plan.
I actually normally have a few on the go. But the reason is also excitement, just slightly different. I find a new pattern which I want to start right away. So then I got started, but then I do go back and forth, just depending what I feel like, and I do finish them as well.
I was going to ask that, Sophie, because I have a friend who she's a bit of a flitter, but she never finishes anything, and that frustrates me so much, because they see all of this beautiful work, and she is an absolutely amazing crocheter, but she just has so much work that isn't finished, and I'll say, Alison, why? She said, well, you know, I enjoyed it while I was doing it, and I'll get back to it. I would love to be able to do that. So I'm glad that you said that you do actually finish.
No, I do finish, and I don't have more than 2 or 3 on the go. That's kind of my max. I don't start another one then. I'm like, no, I need to finish these first.
Yeah. And so Erika, what about you?
Like Sophie, 2 or 3 at the same time. I kind of get fed up with the colors. So if I'm knitting a lot with the red, I want to see a different color.
Oh no, I'm like that.
I'm like, okay, I can't stand it. So right now, and this is very good when I'm like watching my kids just do something easy, starting on the next project or something.
And Katy?
Well, generally I have 4 or 5 projects working the same time or more.
Wow.
And I know that I start knowing that I'm gonna finish then one project in 6 months, because I know I'm gonna stop in the middle and continue months later. But I never abandon a project. For example, I start a blouse and it didn't work and I won't try anymore. No. Eventually I'm gonna try and finish it. I'm even if I have to unravel everything and start again.
I unravel the determination, isn't it? So you've started it, so you are going to finish it.
Yeah.
Yes. This is the case like that. This one I unraveled it twice or 3 times, but I really wanted it, and I started again and restarted and restarted until I have it.
I have a couple of those. This one navy sweater that I knit, I wanted a navy sweater. I just wanted a solid navy sweater, and I saw something on Ravelry. I thought it was very interesting. It's not vintage, but it has interesting gathers. There's a lot of short rows, so it's kind of puckery and it's very asymmetrical, and I thought it was very interesting. I started knitting it, and I had like this shape coming out that was like big enough for a grapefruit, and I thought, this just can't be right. And I talked to other people who had knitted, and I looked at all the other people's pictures on Ravelry, and I didn't see anyone who had that.
Had a grapefruit carrier.
Well, I started over. I knit the entire thing, and I still wasn't happy with it. And I ripped the whole sweater, everything out, and I started a third time, and now it's wearable, and I like it. I don't love it, but I like it. I like it enough to wear it. So it was worth it. And my husband was so supportive. He was like, you're not going to like it. You're never going to wear it. So you like to knit anyway, just rip it out. And then you have more knitting to do. So
were you at that point saying, I will wear it and I will like it? Don't tell me that I won't like it. Just let me knit it.
I have another one.
That would be me. Don't
I have
tell
another
me.
one somewhere in a tub, a sealed tub that will come out this summer. That's one that I have knit twice, 2 different patterns, completely different. And I hated both of them after I was done and I tried them on. There's something about the yarn. It's a tape, it's a cotton tape. It's sort of like a very thin ribbon. And it doesn't drape like wool. So I really didn't know how it was gonna hang until I was completely done. And the neckline just kept stretching and stretching. Now it's like off my shoulders. It's supposed to be a nice little V-neck. So I'm gonna redo that a third time. But at the end, I hope I'll finally have something that I can enjoy wearing. The yarn is really, I love it. I love it a lot. It's so different. It's powder blue and it has royal blue dots on it, but the dots are all different sizes. It's very interesting. It's very unusual. Anyway, I probably should look at your Ravelry pages if you all have them, and if you've kept start and finish dates, and I should probably see in a particular time period, or maybe I could just ask you and we'll come back and revisit this. I think it was Kati who said she does in 6 months she'll finish something, but she might finish multiple things within those 6 months. So I think it would be interesting to take the average, maybe in the course of the year, how many sweaters were you able to knit? And it would be interesting to see if the person like Kati from Germany, if she says, I finished 23 sweaters in my year, because we know that she does it until she's finished, and compare it to myself, where maybe I finished 10 sweaters in the year because I jumped from one to the next. I have a feeling that my hypothesis is that the person who sticks to their project and they don't get distracted by other things is probably more productive. Like I said before, I think I lose a lot of time coming back to it and now figuring out not only where am I, but to get in the groove with that stitch again. I want to test that hypothesis. So I might be tapping you all again to say, can you tell me, in 6 months, how many sweaters did you complete? And
on our Instagram,
my money is on Kati.
No, you know what we should do next time, Billy? We should bring our projects that we haven't finished and explain why we didn't finish it.
Oh, we could do that.
I've got a few of those that I could share with you.
I did that on one of my episodes. I pulled out all of my unfinished things. That was, I think, at the beginning of the year. And I said, I'm on a mission. Fifi, finish it first. I am on a mission to finish something before I start something new. And I have really been quite disciplined about it. In fact, it would be hard for me to show you, but I have a lace jacket on the blocking mat right now. I had intended to wear it today, but I ran into a little snafu. This thing was put away for well over a year, maybe a year and a half, because the pattern had errors in it. And the designer was not very welcoming. I queried her about a couple of things. I said, your drawing doesn't match what your instructions are putting out. Like in your drawing, you show that you have decreases, but in the instructions, there are no decreases. And I said to her, like, I'd like to see pictures of the garment that you actually knit. And she was like, well, I don't have it anymore. And this is a designer who sells a lot of stuff and not inexpensively, I might add. And I'm not going to mention names because I think that would be not nice. But I went back to it multiple times and I stayed the course. I already had the buttons. I'm going to show you the button.
Don't those designers have test knitters though for their designs?
Here's the button.
Lovely button.
That's nice.
I bought a set of these at Vogue Knitting Live last year, January. There was a woman who had an entire button booth. I've mentioned her before, but now with no shows, she's not found anywhere and she's not doing that much on the internet. But I'm happy that I bought those buttons because once you commit to spending money for vintage buttons, like, come on, you have to finish the sweater. So I knew when I made the commitment to buy the buttons that I would come back to the sweater. And finally I finished it. While it's on the blocking mat, I mean, this is a real rookie error. I'm trying to stretch it. I want it to be a little bit longer and it's lace, so it's got a lot of stretch. All of a sudden, I feel my bind off kind of like pop a couple of minutes. And I was like, okay, I'm going to rip out my bind off. The thing is on the blocking mats and there's a whole row of live stitches now. I took 200 stitches out that goes all the way up one side, around the neck and down the other side because I must have bound off a little too tightly. And I couldn't get the stretch that I wanted. Now without the bind off, I can stretch it for miles. So after it's dry, I'm going to pick up those stitches and bind it off much more loosely at the length that I need it.
Shall I tell you another, sorry, can I tell you another thing about sometimes I've had run into problems with the neck. Sometimes I've knitted a jumper and it won't go over my head. Oh dear! But sometimes I've had to re-knit the ribbon like 2 or 3 times. I think it's if you cast off too tightly, that's when you got to remember to do it loosely.
I thought I was doing it loosely.
Michele, when you're casting off, you're so relieved to be at that point because it's been such a journey. You're like, head. Finish it, and you cast off with real tension.
It's really awful, isn't it, when you think, oh my god, the neck's too small.
What do you get to that point?
And the thing is, I don't want it big. I don't want it too big, but then I can end up...
but you want to be able to get over your head.
Exactly. I mean, I haven't got a big head, but it's just, oh god. It's just horrible.
I knit a baby sweater and it started at the neck, and after I was done the first few rows, I felt like it was small, but I wasn't sure that a baby's head was going to fit through that. So
did you get an orange or
I cheated. I didn't want to like rip it out because that was my second attempt. I cut it and I like fixed up the I made sort of like a little keyhole just to give it a little more wiggle room there so the baby could get her head. Oh boy. Anyway, I think this is probably a good point. We've been on not quite an hour. unless anybody has any special thing that they want to share with everybody else, I think it was really great to see you all again. And I think we should do it again. There'll be more people. I'll continue to have guests. And yeah, anybody else have any special announcements or anything before we all say goodbye?
Well, considering knits that doesn't turn out the way you want them to. This sweater stretched humongously when I washed it. So it got twice the size, and it is in superwash merino, and it was like, how in the world do I shrink it back into a nice size that fits me?
You put it in the dryer?
I washed it again, and it waterlogged horrendously. I've never seen anything waterlogged that much. So I actually had to take it out of the laundry machine, squeeze it out by hand, and then put it back into the machine because it didn't want to spin. It didn't want to centrifugate. It was.
Do you use laundry bags when you put it in the washing machine to spin?
I did when I washed it. But even without the bag, it didn't want to spin because it was so waterlogged. I tried 4 times, I think, before I actually physically squeezed it out by hand. And then I put it, after I had spun it, I put it in the dryer on the hottest cycle twice. And finally, it shrank back to, well, about the perfect size for me, body-wise, but not the shoulders and not the sleeves. So I actually had to machine stitch twice with narrow zigzag after I first actually hand stitched, back stitched with the yarn, the new sleeve seam. And then I just simply cut it and zigzagged the edge twice just to make sure that this superwash wouldn't unravel. And
tell us what yarn that is so we never buy it.
It's only able to found in Denmark and Sweden and Finland, thankfully. It's created by Adlibri's super baby merino, which is a superwash, and it's so soft and cozy and have beautiful colors, and it's probably very nice to knit tight cabled things with, but not a lace pattern like this is.
They say that superwash stretches a lot. I haven't had a lot of experience, but yeah,
I knitted another sweater with drops baby merino, and it didn't behave at all like this. Yes,
I use that
it grew slightly, but not at all much more than normal wool usually do, because you can just pat it back. But
I think you can also look at the twist. I think if it's got a tight twist, it's not as likely to stretch as much.
This is more, shall we say, Aran spun. It's so loosely spun, so it splits easily as well. And then it's like, so I was absolutely devastated when I saw this. And it was like, I have longed for this. I've yearned for this pattern ever since I saw it, which was back in 2011. And I couldn't find a right yarn for it because the first time the yarn broke during the cast on. And I was so upset. It was like, no, I won't knit with that yarn. Get rid of it. And then when I finally found this yarn, I was like, oh, I love the color. It would be perfect because it was supposed originally to be in ballet blue, and this is light sea green. It's close enough in my book. And then this thing happens. I'm like, no. I shall have it finished somehow. If I just have to, machine stitch the new seams, I will make it small enough.
You know what? I just noticed that there are people who are watching as we're live and writing comments. And hi, Mary, and Panzer Soldat 42, and Wallace, and FRI, greetings from the Netherlands. And yeah, wow. Hi. You know, I'm new to this thing, and it's a lot to juggle all these guests and the people live, but it's really fun, and I'm glad that you were here, and thanks for commenting. Whoa. Okay. I think this is it. We'll do it again. I'll email you all with another date sometime later on in the year. And until then, everybody, please stay safe, be well, enjoy the holidays, and I'll see you next time. Thanks
Lovely
to
to
all
see
of you
you
for
all,
being
ladies.
here.
Yeah, thanks for
Yeah,
inviting
thank
me.
you. Bye.
Happy
Love
Easter,
to see you.
everybody.
Happy Easter.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 Bye. Happy knitting.